Hey, welcome back to Rust Order Garage. We are back on piece of junk turbo Buick after taking a break for what? A couple weeks, a week? I don't even remember, to do the L33 5.3 stuff. So that was pretty cool. End up with a good engine, which is a good spare. I think I'm going to do something else too. That was so easy to run that on the stand. I think the next thing I'll do is a cam swap. I have a 6.0 and an Escalade I think we'll take out, put on the stand, throw a sloppy stage 2 in it and see what that does. We'll do it before and after. Yeah, this is what it is. We'll see how it goes. But before that, got to get back on this thing. Okay, I have not looked at the list in a little while, but we did get some stuff done. The oil feed is done, and the oil drain is done. So we're getting down the list here. So what do we got left? Catch can, that's one of the last things. Intercooler, I don't want to do that right now. Blow off, that's going to go with the intercooler. The wastegate's going to go with the exhaust, which we may do now. Vac lines, that'll be later. Fuel pressure gauge later. Hood later, excuse me. I think exhaust will be the next one. And it'll be a little involved because I'm doing some silly stuff instead of just a straightforward exhaust. But I think it'll be cool. Let me show you what I got. All right, so as far as exhaust goes on the turbo car, even though I'm admittedly not a turbo guy, never done a turbo before, I'm learning as I go. One thing that is very clear is that turbos don't like restrictive exhaust systems. And a lot of people run bullhorns or straight out the hood and all that. And honestly, I can't see how in the world they get away with that, because I start this thing, it's freaking loud. It's really loud. And that's just at idle. I cannot imagine running this thing wide open. That said, I have an idea to do that. But street car, I want to drive this thing. I want to be able to drive it to work at very early hours of the morning and not piss my wife off and everybody else a mile away. So the idea here is to build a quiet exhaust and then put a loud valve on it to dump it out the fender under boost. Best of both worlds, right? At least that's what it seems to be from what I've seen. So when you're just driving around, it'll be a 3-inch exhaust system through a muffler all the way out the back of the car. Should be tolerable. Get under boost, the loud valve opens up, and any exhaust should dump out the fender portholes on the passenger side, straight out the fender. So to do that, it's more than just a dump. I actually have to make like a little header to attach to the car and go out the side of the fender. I'll show you what that's going to be, but let's look at the parts. First off, I have to make a header, and I'm going to use a couple of these as the stubs to go out the fender. What are these? These are mid-80s Jaguar XJ6 tailpipes. Little tips. Like I said, I'm a hoarder. I buy lots of Jaguars for the front suspensions, and it's stupid little things like this I keep. This will work. These are stainless, and I can cut these up and use these as the stubs to go out the fender. You will see. Then again, this may all go to hell and not work at all, but I'm going to try. We have got a 3-inch loud valve. Boost activated, so it'll tie into the vacuum system. When the boost kicks on, this bad boy will open up, and the exhaust will go out this and out the header that's going out the side of the fender. Because I am making this header, or what I'll call a header, to go out the side, I bought this 3-inch bellows, because the header is going to be rigidly mounted to the car, and then the engine's going to want to move, so hopefully this will take up the movement, because I don't want to put any stress on the turbo housing. If the engine moves and tries to rip the header out of the car, I want this to at least take up some play. You know, you get what I'm saying. And we got some 3-inch V-bands and some 3-inch muffler clamps. That's just for the muffler. So with that stuff on hand, I think I can get started on this stuff. what I'm talking about here, if I look on the side of the car, you see we have the portholes. Now I can't use this one, the far back one, because I've got my heater core and heater hoses back there. Again, street car. I don't want to burn that stuff up. But I can use these two. So I'm thinking a header, and I'll show you up on top of the fender, but basically something like that. That will go from that porthole and curve over this way. And then this porthole come in straight, go to a 3-inch section here, loud valve, bellows, all that, and make it all fit and see how that works out. So that is the plan. So the first thing I have to do is make a header. And I don't think I'm going to video a whole lot because it's just going to be a whole lot of measuring, cutting, or just winging it and cutting and welding. And hopefully this works out. So I'm going to pop these portholes out. And when I come back, I'm either going to have a header thing that works, or I'm just going to admit defeat and it's not going to work. But we'll see. All right, it has been a couple days. I've been working on this thing off and on, and I have some stuff done. Got a header. I got some really ugly welding on my loud valve. I think it's time for a TIG. Yeah, so that's pretty bad looking. Problem was I did this with a MIG welder, and I'm so worried about warping these flanges for the V-bands. I'm kind of spot welding around, and yeah, pretty lumpy, but whatever, it'll hold. That's all I can say. But I think it's time for a TIG welder, and you can when you're tack welding around, at least you can get some heat in there. That's pretty bad. But anyway, I've got a still wet paint. I don't know why I painted it. It's probably going to burn right off. But I've got a 2 x 3-inch header that's going to go to the fender of the car and catch 2 of the portholes. And I said I took a lot of time doing all this because I had to keep mocking it up to make sure it all fit. But I'll show you how it looks. All right, so here's what we got so far. Keep your comments to yourself on my crappy welding. I know it sucks, but it is what it is. Anyway, so here it goes. Piece of a Silverado tailpipe, 3-inch, off the turbo, down into the loud valve, down into the header, which goes outside the car. Portholes. Right there. So we got 2 out of 3. Back one stock, dumping out those 2. Now, what I did was I couldn't fit the bellows in there. It just wasn't room. So what I did was the header is not rigidly mounted to the car. These pipes are actually just sitting in here. So if they need to move, they can. I don't think they're going to move much. This engine is pretty rigidly mounted, so, but whatever. If it moves an 1/8 of an inch or a 1/16 of an inch, the movement is there. It can move. So that is the first part of the exhaust. Now, obviously, this side is controlled by the loud valve here. So when it goes under boost, that'll open up. But I need a dump off of here going down to the exhaust system for normal. So I'm going to have to turn this elbow into a Y of some sort and put a dump off of there. And then figure out if the wastegate is going to tie to that exhaust going out the back or just dump under the car. I don't know. It's kind of in a weird spot. And let's see what it comes out looking like. But again, it's all being made out of scrap pieces. Okay, moving along, but not done yet. But done for this week because I just don't have time. So I've got a 3-inch main dump now off of here. So with the loud valve closed, it can also go that way. I got a little U shape there off my wastegate, tied right into the exhaust dump there. I figured a longer piece would be easier to align if I had to take this apart rather than just going straight across that way. That might have been a problem. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. I don't know. But it doesn't matter. That's how it's going to be. So all that's left to do with this is put an oxygen sensor bung on here for my wideband and put the real lock nuts on my V-bands because I was using temporary nuts so I didn't mess the threads up because it keeps coming off and on a bunch of times. But overall, that's pretty much it for the top half of the exhaust. I think it's pretty cool that it's going to come out the fenders. That's something I wanted to do from the get-go. So it looks like a pretty crazy plumbing nightmare, but I actually think it fits the car pretty well. All right, so that's going to be it for this one. Quick video. Not a quick, well, quick for you. I think I was out here 3 days, you know, 2-3 hours a day screwing around with this thing. So I think it's coming out okay. I don't mind it. It's good enough. So that's going to be it for this video, though. When I come back, I will continue on the rest of the exhaust under the car, try to get that finished, get the O2 bung on there, which that doesn't matter. I'll get that done. And yeah, that should be it for the exhaust. Next major things will be the intercooler plumbing, and I got to figure out what am I going to do. Am I going to get a TIG welder and do this in aluminum, or just use a bunch of couplers, or make it out of 3-inch exhausts? Because I got plenty of that from Silverado tailpipes, which is all that's made out of. There ain't a dollar in that other than the loud valve and the V-bands. Everything else is just scraps. So yeah, but anyway, I'm beat. It's the end of the day. I think that's enough. So thanks for watching, and also thank you very much for everybody who subscribes and who watches. I really appreciate it. Channels has grown. It's certainly not big, but hey, I'm getting more subscribers every week, and I really appreciate it. So thanks for watching. See you soon.